talk about we'll talk about the pricing, and then also talk about sales. We'll talk about pricing, the pricing strategies, how you can find the perfect price point for your product. And then we'll talk about sales, all of the steps in your sales management process. And then I'll take questions and answer, and then we'll round up the conversation. So are we good to go? Okay. All right. So I'll be sharing my screen. Yes. Can you guys see my screen? Just confirm if you can see my screen. Right. Can you confirm if you can see my screen,
Yes, we
please?
can.
Okay. All right. That's great.
Yes, we
All right.
can.
So product development cycle. There are a lot of if you go on Google right now and you search product development, product development cycle, it would give you different description, different definition for what product development is and all of that. But basically, this is just us talking about all of the processes that we go through to have the product in the market. That is from the moment you thought about that particular idea to all of the things you did before getting that product into the market is what we call the product development cycle. And for this particular conversation, I'll focus on our 5 major things. We'll talk about from ideation to creation. We'll talk about the concept development, MVP development and market research, pricing strategies, and then we'll round up the conversation, like I said the other time, on sales management. You understand? Now, so how do we go from ideation to creation? So this involves 5 major processes, which we call the design thinking process. And this process involves 5 different stages. The first one is that you empathize. Now, empathizing could come from our own personal experience. It could come from experiences of people around us. What I mean by that is that it could be because when you used a particular product, you felt like this product could be a lot better. That's the very first interaction you have with an idea of that particular solution that you're about to provide. So you research your user's need. When you empathize, it means you're researching your user's needs. Now, in this case, users could be anybody. It could be you yourself. It's just that you've thought of a particular problem, you have a solution in mind, and you're trying to understand what that problem means for your potential users. So you empathize. Then you define. What this means basically is that you need to state your users' needs and problem. What that means is that, so why do these people need to use this product? Is it to feel good about themselves? Is it for better health? Is it to save them time? Is it for better quality of life? You need to understand what your users' needs and problems are. Because when you understand what their problem, after you've researched their needs, you need to understand and define what their needs and problems are. Then you need to ideate. What this means is that you need to look at different theories. You need to create different assumptions. You need to create different ideas. The very first automobile that was created does not have any resemblance with the current day automobiles. Meaning that, yes, when the idea of the fact that, oh, you know what, we could build something that runs on an engine, the very first iteration, the very first version of that particular thing is very different from what we have now. And that's why you need to create different assumptions. You need to create different ideas to test. Yes, you're trying to solve one particular problem, but what the right solution would be would not come to you formed at once, would not be well formulated at the very first go. So you need to create different assumptions. You need to create different ideas of what that solution should look like. Now, after creating all of these different assumptions, different ideas, you need to build a prototype. That is, you take different moving parts of all of the ideas and all of the assumptions you've created, you bring them together to create a prototype. Now, this prototype doesn't necessarily mean that this is a well-formed product, or this is what the product would look like ultimately. You understand? It's just something to test and see if your idea even works. Now, the crazy thing with prototypes is that when you check out prototypes, they would always have their limitations, and that's why they are called a prototype. Because you need to first create the first version of your product. You need to know if the market would like it this way or that way. Some of us, for the products we're building, or for some of us that are into physical products, it could be the packaging that you didn't get right at first. It could be the amount of quantity that you put into one particular pack. You get, but you just need to test first, and share with some of your early users. You need to test your prototype and see if it actually works. And then you try out your solutions. After creating your prototype, you want to get it into the hands of few users that can use it and give you a feedback. You understand? So how do we go from ideation to creation? I said you follow the design thinking process, which is 5 different stages. You empathize, you define, you ideate, you create a prototype, and then you test out your solution. Empathize means researching your users' needs. And when you define, it means you're stating clearly what your users' needs and what your problem is. Then you ideate, you test different solutions, you create different ideas, you have different assumptions of how the solution should be provided. After all of this, you create a prototype. You create something that looks similar to what your final solution should look like. Now, after creating your prototype, you test the prototype. You hand that prototype to a number of people. You want them to test that solution. You want them to use it and give you, so you can know if this thing works or not. This is how we go from ideation to creation. From the moment you think about that thing down to when you're creating the very first version of the solution that you have in mind. Please, are we all together? Are we together, please? Can anybody please?
Yes, we
Because I
are.
want to be sure that we're all together. Yes. All right, fine. Okay, so now we would look at the product development cycle. What are the different stages involved in developing a product? I already said that how we go from ideation to creation is through the design thinking process, which you created 5 different stages for. You understand? Empathize. I said we would what? Would empathize, we define, we ideate, create a prototype, and then we test. But let's break it down, let's go deep into some of these things that we mentioned. Now, we said the product development cycle is the process of taking a product from an idea through its market release and beyond. That is, from the moment you think about this particular product till the time you release the first version to the product, to the market, and then all of the different changes you make to that product subsequently during the stay in the market. Now, the process includes the following steps. There are 7 different steps in the product development cycle. First thing is idea development. That is, from the very first moment you think about that idea. It could be while you're using the toilet. It could be when you could not find sleep in the midnight, and then that idea just dropped in your mind, and then you took your pen and paper and then you wrote that idea down, and you'd be like, okay, I think I can solve this problem using XYZ. That's the idea development stage. The moment you get the idea, you jot it down, you think about it, you do maybe some little research and all of that. You do a little research, you look at, okay, is there a similar product in the market? How are people already solving this particular problem? Can I make it better? Can I make it faster? Can I make it cheaper? You understand? Because every product is built to do 3 things: either save you time, save you money, or give you a better quality in terms of experience. You're building products on the back of these 3 things. So in your idea development stage, you're asking yourself that this idea that I have, does it help solve the problem cheaper, faster, or it gives better quality of life? I mean, in terms of experience of using that particular product. Now, after you go through the idea development stage, you then go on to validate the idea. Now, what idea validation means is that you're testing different models. So you've thought of a particular solution, then you go on the internet, you want to research, does this solution already exist? If it exists, it lets you know that, okay, people are actually solving this problem already. Now, what you do at this particular stage now is that, how can I make the solution that is already in the market, how can I make it better, faster, or how can I make it cheaper, faster, or of better quality than what already exists in the market? This is what your idea validation stage looks like. In the idea validation stage, you're taking different things from the existing solutions. It could be something that is not even in the market anymore. It could be something from the past. So you're taking historical data, you're taking present data, you're putting all of that together, and you're using it to validate the idea that you've developed in your mind. Now, after validating the idea, ideas don't run the world, execution does. So after validating that idea, what you want to do next is build a prototype. Now, I know that sometimes, you have the full picture of what you want your product to look like. You have the full big mental picture of what it wants to look like. But we can't start big from the very onset. You need to find the smallest entry point. And in this case, it means building a prototype. You need to have something that looks like what your big solution would look like. Now, in the idea development stage, what this idea development stage lets you know is that you've identified a problem and you have an idea of the solution you want to use to solve that problem. In the idea validation stage, you research all of the solutions that already exist in the market to solve that problem. Now, in your own idea, you're thinking that, can I make this thing cheaper? Can I make it faster? Can I make it of a better quality? That's what you're doing in your idea validation stage. Now, if your idea validation stage concludes with the fact that you can make it cheaper, that is, you've already researched all of the raw materials that can replace the expensive materials that the present solution is being built with, isn't it? And that's how you build a prototype. So you go on to build a prototype. Crazy thing is that we're living in a very, fast-paced world. It's the 21st century, and tech has like decentralized a lot of things. Your prototype could be a Google form. Your prototype could be a website. Your prototype could be 5 batch of production of that particular product. You just want to test the idea that you have in your head. Remember that at the idea development and idea validation stage, you've not gotten any feedback from customers. You're still working in your head. It's still all in your head. It's still about what you think is right and what you've not tested. What building the prototype does for you is that it gives you actual customer feedback. It lets you know what your customers are thinking. It lets you know if the kind of people you want to service would actually prefer something cheaper, something faster, or something that enhances their experience in using that particular product. So one of the ways you can use to build a prototype is that you just, do a caricature of what your main product is supposed to look like, and then just test. It could be testing with your family and friends. It could be testing in your church. It could be testing with your group of friends. It could be testing in your fellowship. I know many of us on this call right now are coppers. It could be testing at your CDS. So you've done that, you've created plantain chips, in a different way. You're not adding pepper, you're adding paprika flour or anything. Or you've created this particular product that allows core members interact with themselves, and you even want to know if they would use it or if they're even interested in this. You could start with just your own local government people and ask them, let's share information about CDS, about parents, about corpus event coming up on this particular app. See how people relate with that product. It doesn't have to have all of the functionalities at this particular stage. And that's what building the prototype is about. Now, after building your prototype, to create the brand messaging, you need to create what you're trying to solve. We live in the world of perception, and what people think you're trying to do would go a long way to determine how well people are going to accept what you're releasing to the market or what you're giving them to test. So you need to create the right brand messaging alongside your prototype. Now, if you notice here, after creating the message, I said build the product. Now, the difference between the product and the prototype is that You're going to take all of the lessons that you've learned from testing the prototype and creating a message in the market. So take, for example, you want to sell something that I don't want to use technical product now. I want to use things that we relate with every now and then. So take, for example, you want to create crunchy plantain chips. You've tested all the plantain chips around you, and you feel like one, maybe they are too salty, and that's not good for the health. They're too peppery, that's not good for the health. They're this, they're that. And you have an idea. Oh, we can create plantain chips using another product. I don't know what the product would be. I don't know. So you research how they make plantain chips, the entire process there, and all of that, and you realize that for example, they fry the plantain chips in oil, and you feel like, oh, that's not healthy. Let's use air frying. That's your own idea. You get that's how you want to make the experience of eating plantain chips better through air frying. Now, you don't know if people would actually love air frying or not, or if the difference in the taste of the one that was fried in oil will be different from the one that was air fried. You understand? So that's the stage where you now build a prototype. Now, because you don't know that people will like it or not, you can't go on and create 1,000 uh, pieces of your plantain chips. So what you want to do here is that you want to build a prototype. So you make 10 bags or you make 15 bags of plantain chips. And before, say for example, you know that CDS is coming next week Thursday. You've created your plantain chips. So now before next week CDS, you created a brand messaging talking about the dangers of oil frying. Talk about the health hazard and all of that, and why air frying is a more healthy way for people to consume their food. Now, remember that you've already built your prototype. You already have 10, 15 bags of plantain chips that you plan to take to CDS next week. But before you go to CDS next week, you've created a brand messaging saying that, oh, there's so many health hazards that come with eating food that are fried in oil, and a very healthier alternative is to take products that are air fried, and all of that. And then you've created the brand messaging. You take the prototype to CDS the following week. And then out of 15 bags, say you sell 12. And the feedback was that, oh, this is so nice, but if you could have a bit more pepper. Oh, this is so nice, but it's a bit too crispy. Oh, this is so nice, but it feels so dry in my mouth. Oh, this is so nice, blah, blah, blah. You're taking all of those feedbacks together. Now you know that, okay, people would like more pepper and all of that. But what this gives you is that throughout all of the feedback that they gave you, nobody noticed that it was air fried. Nobody noticed that there was a difference between the regular ones that they have and the one that you are selling. So it then lets you know that do these people actually care if this thing is air fried or not? So take for example, if air frying is more expensive than frying in oil, what that means is that the cost of your own production is higher. That means that you probably want to sell the product at a higher price. Now you need to ask yourself, do people actually care if their plantain chips is a fried or fried in oil, deep frying? Do you get? It lets you know, should I care about air frying or oil frying, or should I care about it being crispy or not having enough salt and all of that? So it's when you take all of these feedbacks together, then you go on to build the product. Do you get now? So you go on to build the product after taking the feedback from creating and building a prototype. Then after building the product, you launch the product in the market. You see how the product is performing in the market. You take customer feedbacks, then you improve the product as time goes on. Improving the product could be the quantity, it could be the packaging, it could be the production process, all of that. There's so many stages involved in improving products. So this is what a product lifecycle looks like. Idea development, idea validation, you build a prototype, you create the messaging, you build the product, launch the product in the market, and then you improve the product after you've launched it in the market. You understand? Please, did we get that? Did we get that, please? Okay. All right, that's great. So before I move on to now, after developing your product, you have the product in the market, you've launched the product. It's an important part to this product because the product won't just sit in your home, it won't just sit on your shelf. You need to take the product to market. Now, when you're taking the product to market, something is very important, which is pricing, which then takes us to the next stage of my conversation, which is pricing strategies. Now, before we go into pricing strategies and all of that, I would like to take a question about one or two questions about product development. So please, if you have a question, please raise up your hand about like what we've spoken about from the idea to creation and then the product development cycle, please. I'd like to take questions now. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and then we can move from there. Light, can you please coordinate this so that we can spend like 5-10 minutes, 5-7 minutes rather, taking questions before I move to the next stage.
Okay. Hi Daniel, please unmute and go ahead with your question.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay, so I just wanted to ask. I'm currently at 3 years, so this place might be noisy. Okay, so I want to ask, Mr. Evans, you've been talking about products. So how about people that run service-based business? For example, I run a startup that's into helping young people to get career documents like the CV writing, cover letter, SOPs, and all of that. So I want you to probably divert a little bit, talk about product development in that regard, using service as example. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, yes, that's fine. So funny thing is that in all of this, the processes are the same. Either you're selling physical products or building a technological product or rendering services. Now, before you started this business, you had a moment of epiphany while you were sleeping and you were like, oh, people need this particular solution. It could come from your own personal experience. It could come from you researching something online. Or you had a moment of epiphany and it made you feel like people would need this solution. So you had an idea, isn't it? Now, also, it's the same process. Like I said here, idea development. You've researched this particular problem that you think people have. And people need quality SOPs so they can gain admission for the PhD abroad and all of that. So you're trying to help people get the better chance at having an outstanding application. You understand? So you want to ask yourself, what exactly is the problem? Quality SOPs, quality CVs, quality this, quality that. Now you want to validate their idea. Is it that people do not have time to write these things themselves, or people do not know how? So there's a difference between when people don't know how to do something and when people don't know have the time to do something. You get what I'm trying to say? Now you could validate this idea by just a simple Google form. So you want to create a Google form with maybe young professionals. If you have access to WhatsApp groups or communities of young professionals, or early graduates or serving core members and all of that, and then you just create a Google form asking certain questions. How much time do you spend on writing CVs? Would you outsource your CV? Would you do this? Would you do that? When they give you a validation and a feedback, you know what their pain point is. So people are willing to spend money. So people can actually do this thing, but they do not have time. It helps you know how you're going to set your pricing. People do not know how to do this thing. It lets you know, do I want to teach people to do this thing, or I want to do it for them? Do you get, if you're trying to do it for them, can I scale it? Is it scalable? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Or do we just let's train people on how to do this thing and we get paid and we keep it moving? Do people really want to know how to do this thing? Or they want you to remove the headache of doing these things from their head? That's the idea validation part. Now, building a prototype here for a service-based business now would be that, so you want to test out this model with 5 different types of people. So say, for example, you're doing SOPs for people applying for graduate training programs. You're doing SOPs for people applying for for MSc and PhD abroad. You're doing SOPs for people applying for grants and funding opportunities for different businesses and all of that. Now, you want to build a prototype here in the sense that you want to test with 5 different type of people and see the ones that actually have the higher success rate. Or you want to see if more people are interested in either learning how to do these things, or they would rather pay you to do these things for them. So in this case now, you're looking at 2 different type of people. Those who do not have the idea of what needs to be done and would love to learn to do that thing, and people who have an idea of what needs to be done but do not have time to do that thing. So in this case, you're saving them time. In the other case, you're teaching them, you're imparting knowledge. Do you get what I'm trying to say? That would help you determine or decide how much quality your service has to be. Because funny thing is that if you're training these people, you can't train them to go from amateur to pro over a short period of time. It takes time. But if you're helping people save time, it means that these people already know what quality looks like. You just need to be able to match up that standard, and then you'll be able to charge premium. So this is where you do the whole build a prototype thing and create the messaging. So after you've determined that, okay, based on all of the access that I have, I mean, as the founder now, based on all of the access that I have as the founder, or based on the understanding of the market, I would rather help people save time than teach them, so I can charge premium. Then you go on to build your product, which is now to build a full consulting website where you're sharing resources and where people can have one-on-one consulting time. So you understand what they're trying to achieve with their CV, with their SOPs, and then after understanding that, you go on to deliver a high quality CV or a well-written SOP. The client likes it, they pay you, they refer you to their customers, and then the business keeps going on like that. That's what happens for service-based businesses. I don't know if I've been able to, create more clarification for you, Daniel. Did you get that, Daniel?
Okay, he's responded on the chat box already.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Do we have
All right.
any other question, or any other person that would love to ask a question speaking? Please kindly signify so you can unmute yourself. And if you can't speak, you can also share your questions on the chat box. Okay, I think for now we don't have a question.
Yeah, yes. So, all right then. So after going through all of the product development cycle, the next thing to look at is that now that I've developed my product, how do I sell my product? Now, a pricing strategy is a model or method used to establish the best price for a product or service. It helps you choose prices to maximize profits and shareholders' value while considering consumer and market demand. Now, pricing strategies basically is that you're putting into consideration the cost of your production, you're putting into consideration the purchasing power of your market, you're putting into consideration the cultural and historical data of the type of product you're trying to sell in the market and how people have related with that particular product or service over a particular period of time. That's what the pricing strategy means. You're not just looking at the cost of your own production. You're looking at the pocket of your customers. You're looking at the cultural belief of your customers. You're looking at the historical data that backs that product and that particular market. You put all of this together and then you create a pricing strategy. Now, to choose a pricing strategy, it is very essential to understand the role of cost, margin, and markup. A pricing strategy considers 3 things: cost, margin, and markup. Now, when you understand the different factors that I mentioned earlier, you would be able to put that into consideration in considering your cost, in considering your margin, and in considering your markup. You understand? Now, let's look at what some of these 3 things that I've mentioned, what they mean. I mean, cost refers to the fees you incur from manufacturing, sourcing, or creating the product you sell. This includes the materials themselves, the cost of labor, the fees paid to the supplier, and even the losses that you might incur in that particular production. Now, here in this particular consideration, your cost does not include your overhead and operational costs, such as marketing, advertising, maintenance, or other utility bills. We're not going to consider that in terms of this cost. Now, margin in this case refers to the amount your business would earn after subtracting your manufacturing cost. And your markup refers to the additional amount you charge for your product over the production and manufacturing fee. So this is your cost is, this is how much it cost me to produce this particular product. Your margin is, this is how much I'm going to add to the cost of selling this particular product. Your markup is how much you're actually selling that particular product after considering the cost that you've incurred. So your margin would equal your markup minus your cost. So if something costs you 30 naira to produce and you sell at 50 naira, your markup is 50 naira, your margin is 50 naira minus 20 naira. So your margin is going to be 30 naira. Do we understand? Now that we understand the variables in deciding the cost of a particular, before setting the price of a particular product, let's look at all of the strategies that are best used in setting prices of goods and services. Now, the types of pricing strategies that we have, there are about 9 of them, and we'll run through them, and then I'll give different examples that we are probably very familiar with, so we understand what they mean. So the first one is that the competition-based pricing strategy. Now, in this particular pricing strategy, you have the strategy with products that are in oversaturated market. So you have your fast-moving goods in this particular, you have them in this particular region. You have your telecommunication. You have your goods that are on the shelf. So what competition-based pricing strategies means is that you cannot set your price without considering the price of your competitors. Remember that when we said idea development and all of that, we said idea development, idea validation. Very important aspect of those 2 stages is also researching the competition in that particular market. Researching that particular market. You don't want to know what the competitors are. You want to know how things are done in that particular industry, that particular market. So your competition-based pricing strategy is that you're using the prices of your competitors to set your own price. So you either set your price a bit lower, such that it is all about price and not necessarily about quality, or you set your price a bit higher, and then you make up for the higher price with excellent customer service, maybe better packaging, better branding, and all of that. So an example of products in this particular pricing strategy is fast-moving goods, your toothpaste, your bar soap, your detergents. Products in that particular industry, they are mostly priced based on competition, because there are other variables. There are substitutes for your product in the market. If your product is not the alpha and omega, there are so many other products that do the same thing like yours in the market. You understand? So if you do not consider the prices of your competitors, you would not be able to set a realistic price that will give you a fair market share of your product. Same thing with the service-based businesses. There are people that offer the same service as yours. So you need to understand, so how much does the average CV cost? How much does the average SOP cost? That's how you set your price. Now, there's the cost plus pricing strategy. Now, this particular pricing strategy is taking into consideration your cost of production. So you do not care what your competitors are doing and all of that. What you are most concerned with here is that how much does it cost me to create this product? And how much do I want to earn from selling this product? So take, for example, if you want to earn 1 million in net profit from selling a particular product, and the product costs you, say, 200 naira to make, and you ask yourself, how much unit of this product would I be able to sell in this particular market over a particular period of time? Oh, I'll be able to sell 1,000. okay, you know what, I'm going to sell my product for 500 naira. And once I'm able to sell 1,000 pieces, I would have been able to hit my mark. In this particular pricing strategy, what you're most concerned with is the cost of your production, how much it costed you to produce that particular product. That is the only thing that you care about. You understand? That's the only thing you're concerned with in this particular case. You just want to mark up such that your selling price caters for the cost you're incurring in this case. Now, the next one is the dynamic pricing strategy. Now, for this dynamic pricing strategy, in this particular pricing strategy, it's more about vibes, it's more about buzzwords, it's more about what the market is saying. So I'll give you an example. In 2020, when crypto became mainstream in the market, when people were looking for different opportunities to make money and all of that, people were selling crypto training courses for as high as $200, $300 because at that particular time, the buzz thing was that the buzz thing at that particular time was crypto. Everybody wanted to jump on it. People were getting, people were creating courses and all of that. So in this particular case, it's about buzzword. It's about what people are feeling at that particular time. So it's dynamic pricing strategy. You're charging as high as possible. But this particular pricing strategy is not sustainable. It's only for a particular period of time, maybe 2 to 3 months. But you're going to sell out and you're going to charge the premium, like you're going to charge as high as you can at that particular time. So you're raking your profits as soon as you can. You get what I'm trying to say? That's the dynamic pricing strategy. Now we have the high-low pricing strategy. Now the high-low pricing strategy is such that when you release your products in the market, you charge the highest price, and then over a particular period of time, you begin to lower the price. So it happens with a lot of products. So take, for example, in 2005, the price of a DVD and the price of a DVD now. The price of SIM when it first started and the price of SIM now. The price of a PS3 that time and the price of a PS3 now. That's an example of a high-low pricing strategy. That is, when the product is still very new in the market, you sell it at the highest price. But over time, you begin to lower the price because other things are already, overshadowing the presence of this particular product in the market. So that's the high-low pricing strategy. You sell at the very highest price when the product is new and fresh in the market, and then the prices begin to lower over a particular period of time. Now, the penetration pricing strategy. This is a strategy that a lot of businesses in the fast-moving consumer goods industry use. When you come into the market, you sell at the lowest price so that you can take revenue from your competitors. So something that is probably being sold at 15 naira in the market, you come into the market and then you start to sell at 20 naira, just so that people can begin to come to you and use your own product. Now, but the bad thing with this particular type of pricing strategy is that it is not sustainable. You can't use it for a long time because it's going to eat deep into your profit. And if you do it wrong, it's going to hurt your business over a particular period of time. Because what then happens is that customers have very low retentive memory. They just want to get the lowest price and move on to the next thing. Now, if you're selling something of high quality, and because you want to get the very best of the market at a very short period of time, you do a price slash and the market flows to you, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to increase your price later on because people are already used to that lower price. And sometimes in the market, lower price means lower quality. But remember that you are not even selling lower quality, it is high quality. But because of the fact that you're trying to penetrate the market and are trying to get as much market share as possible, that's the only reason why you're reducing your price, not because of your quality. So the penetration pricing strategy here would only be useful for you if you have enough capital to absorb the price shock that will come from when you're about to increase your price again. Because if you're doing something of high quality, you can't sell it cheap. And if people are already used to buying your product cheap, it's going to be very difficult for them to pay premium for your product over time. So it's a bit tricky to use the penetration pricing strategy. Only big companies can afford to do this. If you're a small, medium business, it's very difficult for you to be able to afford the penetration pricing strategy. Now, we have the skimming pricing strategy. Now, the skimming pricing strategy, different between the skimming pricing strategy and the high-low pricing strategy here is that you sell your product. The skimming pricing strategy is about selling your product for the highest value you can sell it over a particular period of time, and then you begin to lower the price subsequently. This has nothing to do with a new product coming into the market. It's just that you've marked up your price at the very early stage and you've made so much money, and then over time you begin to reduce the price of that particular product. Now, what this can do is that it can set a bad precedence, which is that people already know that, oh, let me wait it out. After 3-4 months, it's going to be cheaper. And then people just wait till when you first launch the product, they don't buy it. And then they wait till 3-4 months after launch when they know that they will get it at a cheaper price. So skimming pricing strategy is that you're selling this particular product at the very highest price that you can sell it. You're getting the best price for it at that particular time. And then over time, which is usually a shorter period of time than the high-low pricing strategy, you begin to reduce that particular price. So take, for example, January of the launch, you're selling this thing for 5,000 naira. Then by March, you're selling it for 4,000 naira. By June, you're selling it for 3,500. By September, you're selling it for 2,000 naira. You get, but in this case, the actual value of that particular product is, say, maybe 500 naira. So regardless of the price that you sell this thing, you're still making a very good profit margin. You understand what I'm trying to say? But in high-low pricing strategy, by the time you're selling it at that lower price, you're probably selling it at the price very close to the cost price. That's the difference between the high-low and the skimming pricing strategy. Do we get that? Now, we have the value-based pricing strategy. Now, for this, it's all about value. It's about what the customers feel about my product. It is about how they feel about it. So if the customer feel like this product is worth $1,000, I'm going to sell it $1,000. It has nothing to do with the cost of the product. It's about what people think that particular product is worth, or what people think that particular service is worth. If they feel the service is worth, 1,000 naira, I'm going to sell it 1,000 naira, even though it cost me $50 or 50 naira to produce this thing. They feel it is 1,000 naira, I'm going to sell it 1,000 naira, which is why people pay a lot of money for designers. Your Gucci, your Fendi, all of the what's it called? All of the designers that we have. It's not really about the cost, it's about the value. It's about the value that the customers feel that your product is providing. It's about value for them. So it's about what your customer think of your product. In this kind of pricing strategy, you need to build a very high-end brand reputation. If people do not think you have high brand value, they are not going to pay premium for your price, and you would not be able to use the value-based. You would not be able to use the value-based strategy for your product. Now you have the psychology-based pricing strategy. Now, this psychology-based pricing strategy is, when they tell you, buy this thing for as low as 5,000, or you see something that says, oh, this thing costs $99.99 or 99.99 naira. Some people go to certain places, certain big supermarkets, because they think the prices are cheaper. Because they see, oh, we're selling this for 89.99 naira, and maybe outside they're selling it 92 naira. so they think it's cheaper over here, and that's why they go. That's psychology-based pricing strategy. For as low as 5,000 naira, up to 50% discount, 99.99 naira. You get that psychology-based pricing strategy. You want to make the customers feel like this is the best price that they can actually get this particular product. You're appealing to their psychology, you're appealing to their emotions, you're appealing to what you're allowing them make their buying decision based on them thinking that they're getting the very best price for this particular thing. That's what psychology-based pricing strategy is about. And the last one is the geographical pricing strategy. So for this particular pricing strategy, I'll take an example. Coca-Cola, for example. So the price of Coca-Cola in Nigeria would definitely be different for the price of Coca-Cola in say Ghana, in say the US, in say the UK, based on different variables. It could be based on cost of production in that particular region. It could be cost of importing that particular product into that particular region. It could be the other levies and taxes that the businesses have to incur in these regions. Then they have to set their prices based on that particular geographical location. You understand? It's large corporations that make use of this pricing strategy. Even here in Nigeria, there are some products that when you buy in the north, they are way cheaper than when you buy them down here in the south. The same product, different pricing strategy. It's all about the geographical location, because maybe in the north it is more popular over there, so you really can't charge premium for it. But here down in the west, it's not that popular, so you can decide to set your own price. It's all about the geographical location of where you're actually selling that product. So when you've developed your product and you're trying to set a price for your product, you can use any of these pricing strategies to deliver your product to the market. You understand? Now, how do you create your pricing strategy? Now, we've mentioned all of the pricing strategies that we have, but what are the different things you need to consider before creating your pricing strategy? The first thing is to evaluate your pricing potential. Now, evaluating pricing potential here is talking about how do I sell this thing to cover for my own cost, to make sure I make enough money, to make sure that I have enough markup to cover for the production cost and all of the other overhead costs that are involved. The second thing is to determine your user persona. Now, who do I want to sell this thing for? Am I selling it to low income earners? Am I selling it to middle class people? Am I selling it to the 1% of the 1%? You need to determine your user persona. If you know the type of people you're selling to, it would help you know what your pricing potential can be, and it would help you set or decide the pricing strategy you want to use. So then analyze historical data. How much has this product been sold for over a particular period of time? How much do you sell these things generally over the years? You understand? You need to analyze the historical data. It could be about the market, it could be about the industry, it could be about the production cost over the years. You get? The fourth one is strike a balance between value and business goal. You need to make sure that as much as you want to serve your customers, you need to also ensure that you are not hurting your business goals. So you need to find a balance between the value you're providing and your business goals. And the last thing is that you need to look at your competitors' pricing. It is very important. How much are my competitors selling these things? That will help you know how much you're going to sell your own thing too. So before you can decide what pricing strategy you need to use, you're going to combine one or two or all of these variables in creating your pricing strategy. You either evaluate your pricing potential and then combine it with determine your user persona, or you analyze the historical data and look at your competitor pricing and then you set a price. Or you combine all of these 5 different parameters together and then you use it to decide on which pricing strategy you want to use per time. Now, you could start out with a particular pricing strategy and move on to another one. It is fine, but just be sure that all your pricing strategies, they are in line and in tune with your current market realities and your business goals. And finally, we'll look at the sales management. How, now that you've set your price, you've developed your product, you need to sell this product in the market, isn't it? Now, you need to have a sales management process. And sales management is the process of developing a sales force, coordinating sales operation, and implementing sales techniques that allows the business consistently hit and even surpass its sales targets. Now, there are 7 different steps in the sales process: prospecting, preparation, approach, presentation, handling objections, closing, and follow-up. Now, the crazy thing here is that these 7 steps can happen as fast in like 2 minutes. You could go through all of these processes in 2 minutes. Now, for a lot of products, especially some of us that are running technical products or that are selling products online, you might be wondering that how does this work for me? You know, when you remember I tell you about the AARR sales funnel, the acquisition, awareness, activation, revenue, and retention, part of the marketing funnel. It's the same thing with this. Prospecting is that who would buy this thing from me? Preparation is that, like, prospecting is knowing who will buy this thing for me. Preparation is knowing that this is how I'm going to reach out to these persons that will buy this thing for me. Approach is now going to these persons that, oh, I have this product. Presentation is how do I sell this product? What do I focus on in selling this product? Is it the packaging? Is it the health benefits? Is it the price? Is it the process that went into producing this product? Do you get? Handling objections. So when they say, oh, so why should I buy this and not that? How do you handle it? Closing. How do you now make them feel like if you don't buy this thing, you're missing out? Then the follow-up is, oh, so are you ready to make this purchase? How many quantities will you be getting? How many months sign-ups will you be doing? How many months subscription will you be doing? And all of that. These are the 7 steps that are involved in sales: prospecting, preparation, approach, presentation, handling objections, closing, and follow-up. So prospecting, for example, for online businesses is that you've already decided that, okay, your user demographic that you want to do this targeted ad for are, say, women in their early 30s. You've already identified who you want to sell to. Now, preparation is that now you're now putting together different contents that can appeal to women and men in their 30s, in their early 30s, women and men in their early 30s. Approach. How am I going to find them? Is it Facebook? Is it Twitter? Is it community groups? Is it Google Ads? Is it Instagram? Is it Quora? Is it discussion communities? Is it Facebook groups? How am I going to reach them? Presentation. How do I sell this message to them? Do I make a short video? Do I make a flyer? Do I make a sales pitch? Do I create a pitch deck? That's the presentation. Handling objections. So do I have the customer support feedback so that when these people have questions, do I have so it could be a WhatsApp bot that automatically answers questions for you. It could be an RG handler that replies yes when people have questions and all of that. That's the handling objections. This is me talking about online aspect of things. Closing. After handling all of the objections, you're not asking them, so would you like to get this particular product? So they tell you, oh, I'll get back to you tomorrow and all of that. Then you do follow up. Oh, ma, are you ready to get this particular product? How many units of product should you be getting? How many stock should we send? Should we send to this place or should we send to that place? That's how you do follow up. So all of these steps are the processes that are involved in actually going from the moment you prospect the particular buyer to when you close that particular buyer and they actually make a purchase. You understand? So you have to have a sales management process in place. So this could be all you. For some of us that are just starting out the business, you're still going to be the salesperson yourself. I mean, you can't afford to hire too many people. You understand? So you are the one prospecting, you're the one preparing, you're the one approaching the clients, you're the one making the presentations, you're the one handling the objections, you're the one making the closing sales, and you're also the ones doing follow-up. Follow-up could also be that you're getting feedback after they made that purchase. So you want to know if they enjoy the product, You want to know how they feel about using the product, so that in case they have any problem, you can undo it and fix it for them. So throughout this entire conversation, we've gone through the product development cycle, how we go from ideas to market, the different stages that are involved in product development, the pricing strategies after you've developed your product. How do you set your price? The different variables you need to consider while using your pricing strategy, and then how do you actually make sales? How do you go through the process of making sales after setting your pricing strategy and after developing your product? Now, I'm going to leave us with this particular quote, which is that business opportunities are like buses. There's always another one coming. It was said by Richard Branson. There are business opportunities everywhere, every time, every season, every era. Ours is to make sure that we position ourselves to find that new opportunity and serve the customer diligently and deliver quality service to them. Thank you very much, guys, for taking time to listen to everything that I've had to say. I would spend the next 10 minutes taking questions that we might have on everything that we've said on this call.
Thank you so much, Elvis. That was amazing. That was insightful. Even with the short time, of course, you've been able to, go in deeper on both topics. So thank you so much for coming on board. And so just as our facilitator has said, we would be taking in questions now. Again, if you want to speak, kindly signify, or you can share your questions using the chat box and it will be answered. So please, we just have 10 minutes to do that. If you have questions.
Yeah, great event. See you. So yeah, please, if you have questions, let's take it and then so we can round this up.
Questions. If you have questions, please kindly put in on the chat box, or you can signify to speak. Except you don't have questions, please let me know. You can actually still put on the chat box that you don't have questions. Every topic was actually clear enough, so we can now move ahead. If you have questions, please let us know. If you don't have questions, also let us know. Okay, we have Daniel. So please unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon once again.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so I would like to say that the session was very, very interesting and precise and clear. All right, so I just want to ask two questions. So the first one, when you were talking about ideation to creation, so you made mention of a prototype. So I understand the part that I need to make people give feedback and all of that. So I want to ask, as relating to my own business now, which I mentioned the other time. So how do I put out a prototype of such to people? So I've been thinking about that, and although the business is already in operation, but maybe in a little form. So I want to know, how do I put out the prototype to people? And secondly, at what point do I need to bring people on board? Because when you were talking about the sales and all of that, you said I can actually be the sales manager, be the everything. So at what point would be important that I bring people on board to work with me? Thank you.
Okay. All right. So first thing first is that if you're already running this business, trust me, you already have a prototype. So the business is already in the market. People, as long as one person has paid you for that particular service, you can sell it. So you already have a prototype in the market. Probably what you want to ask is, how do you improve your service offering, for example? That could come in different forms, actually. It could be you increasing the delivery time of your service. It could be you actually now deciding, you know what, I want to charge premium for my product. Now, charging premium means that you need to ask yourself, how do people feel about this thing? So I'll give you, and I said something the other time. If you're teaching people to do this thing, it's different from if you're helping them save time. So you need to ask yourself, how much is their time worth? So if you're helping someone save so much time so that they can focus on other things, how much is that time worth to them? Then you decide on, you make your pricing decision based on that. But your business is already in the market, so there's no need for, oh, when do you release your prototype is out there in the market. So what you probably want to do more is improve your marketing or improve the awareness about the solution that you give. You understand? Now, for the kind of product that you do, it's very difficult to scale it because you're the one that is the author and finisher of that business. The quality of the job is you. The moment another person writes that same SOP, they might not write it the way that you do. You understand? Except you now want to begin to build an AI platform that models how you write, SOPs or how you write CVs to start writing CVs for you, then that's already a technological product already. You get, but as long as you're still the one writing the SOPs, it's going to be very difficult to scale it. So you're still going to be the salesperson and all of that. The only thing you can do here is to hire people for prospecting. That is, you're hiring people, maybe you're not doing based on commission. So for every client that you bring that pays 50K, oh, you would get 10%, you would get 15%. You get what I'm trying to say? So, yes, that way you're getting more people to come in. And you're also, so it's not like you're hiring people now. It's a win-win situation. It's commission based. More people you refer for my CV job offering, or the more people you refer for my SOP writing offering, or you get this particular amount of the money that they pay. So you have a referral system that enhances your brand visibility and also gives you more what's it called, more access in the market. So at what stage do you hire people? At the stage where you feel like you have enough money to pay them. Just be sure that the business is generating enough revenue to actually take on more people. Don't hire people before you start generating revenue. Do it yourself. I'm sure you can, whatever you want to hire people to do, you can do it yourself first. So it is when you feel like you have so much requests that you can't begin to manage yourself. That's when you now start thinking about hiring other people. Yes, Bukola said that it's a value-based pricing strategy. Is it available for a business to just starting out to adopt that strategy? So for every, like I said, it's all about value. Now, the value could be that who are you selling to? That's the very first question. So for you to sell to rich people need to think that you are rich. You might not be rich, I'm just saying, but they need to think that you're rich. You need to have access to them. You need to go to where they go to. You need to be where they are. Do you get? So if you're where they are, yes, you could sell value based. You could use that particular strategy. If you're selling to the 1% of the 1%, or if you're selling to the high income class, people from the low income class and middle class, a lot of the middle class, they really do not do things based on value. They do things based on satisfaction. You get, value based is about charging premium. Low income earners don't pay premium. Middle class people, they hardly pay premium. Trust me. Their buying decision process has nothing to do about premium. They just want to get the satisfaction they want from a particular product and move on from it. Value based is about what are you selling apart from the product. So it could be class. It could be so when people know that, oh, I'm wearing Fendi, I'm wearing Gucci. There's a classism that sells, and that's why those particular products can charge premium for their products. So you need to be sure that, oh, when people say, oh, I'm wearing, so let's take for example, you run a fashion line, and your fashion line is books, for example, and people know that books is a premium brand, and it's a premium brand maybe because, say for example, you have access to rich people, like I said again, and you've given them your clothes to wear, they bought it from you, and they post it. Do you get? And then people that look forward to those people be like, oh, this person is wearing this girl's brand. this girl's brand must be very premium. So if this girl says she wants to sell her clothes that she probably made for 7,000 naira, she wants to sell it at 35,000 naira, she can sell it. It's not about the clothes anymore. It's about who has won the clothes. That's what happens with value-based strategy. So you need to be sure that you have that clout before you can use value-based strategy. Manufacturing costs are not static. How do I convince my customers that I'm not purposely inflating the products and price of mine? I only sell to them based on correct manufacturing price. Well, the simple truth is that yes, manufacturing prices are increasing on by the day. Yes, and then purchasing power is also decreasing. But the simple truth is that people that see the value of your product, they would buy. But you need to be sure that you know all of what I mean by that is that you need to be sure that you're giving the best price in the market, at least based on the way you can afford it. For some of us that run this kind of businesses where it is based on manufacturing and all of that, we can't decide to just set price the way we like. You need to be sure that you're giving them the best price. And for every time that you're increasing your price, communicate with your customers ahead of time. So you say, oh, by 28th of October, we would be increasing our price by 30%. This is due to XYZ. So you're communicating with them, you're making them know that we appreciate your patronage and we want you, but as a business, for us to survive and continue to serve you, we have to increase our prices. Don't just increase the price on them. Communicate with them, let them know that you value their feedback, and that's why you're letting them know that come so time, we would have to increase the prices of our product. Or, oh, due to XYZ, our products will now go a bit higher by 20%, by 30%. So what used to go for 4,000 will now go for 4,800, will now go for 5,200. It is about clear communication. You understand? If you communicate with your customers, they understand. Trust me, they understand, and they will definitely stay with you as long as you keep serving them high value. I think I've taken all of the questions that were asked.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, we are. I'm sure we don't have any questions. Opoyemi, I hope your questions have been answered as well.
Yes, I think I did that already.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elvis, for the insightful session. Thank you so much. It was great having you on board. And also, once again, thank you all for coming on board. And of course, we'd love you to also show some appreciation to our facilitator for today. I'm going to be sharing his social media handles on the group. So you can go in there, go to his social media handles, share your experience, also share your learning outcomes out of today's session. Once again, the attendance form has been shared. Kindly fill in the attendance form before you log out of today's session. And if you're finding difficulty filling the attendance form, you can also send me a DM on whatever issues you're having. Thank you, Daniel.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for
thank
having
you,
me.
Elvis. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So please kindly fill in the attendance form before logging out of today's session. And of course, all replays will be available to you on Saturday. And tomorrow we'll definitely be having our session. Again, it's not going to be the last one. Our last session is on Monday next week. But tomorrow we'll be having another session. Same time, of course. It's going to be an hour session. And for those that I don't know if you all already have like your pitch decks or a business plan, but if you don't, that's okay. But on Monday, we'll definitely be over the weekend, we'll definitely share a list of people or list of businesses that will be pitching on Monday. It's just not, I wouldn't say it's something serious, but of course, do get prepared for it. Again, for those that will be selected to actually pitch. So all of that information is going to be shared on the community by the weekend. So right now we've already started going through your businesses, like the information shared and all of that. And so from that information and also your attendance, we'll definitely be selecting those that would be pitching on Monday. And of course, those that will be pitching on Monday, that's not the final persons or selected persons that will be pitching during the event. Would also be sharing all of this information across on the community from time to time. So once again, thank you all for joining us today. Please ensure to fill in the attendance form before you log out of today's session. If you have any questions for me, you can just share on the chat box or just let me know if you want to speak and you can unmute yourself. Okay, please send me please send me a DM on WhatsApp. So I guess no questions for me. So I'm just going to leave the attendance form in here for 5 minutes, and then we'll definitely be closing out onto this session. So thank you all once again for coming on board.